G'day there guys, still ordering Diet Coke in 2021 because I like to be on the safer side of things. It's your main man Markee and welcome back to another episode of r/AmITheA. Now if you love today's bloody good content, I want you to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and get ready for some more bloody good stuff. Thank you. Posted by user Rough Jury. Titled, Am I the a-hole for asking for compensation for something my kid destroyed? So we hired a babysitter we've had a few times at a good rate of $20 an hour since it was only for 3 hours in our home. The babysitter is a 19-year-old woman, if it matters. I think maybe the age will affect something. My wife had to rush to work in an emergency, and I was already at work. The babysitter is already familiar with some of our rules. Like our 3-year-old is only allowed in the living room, playroom, and dining room when eating. The babysitter, I guess, had an emergency herself and had to be on the phone for 20 minutes. For some reason, she decided to take the call outside. Her rationale was it was private and didn't want our child to listen in. In those 20 minutes, our daughter was able to move the couch to the living room gate, scale the gate, head into the basement, and pull one of the guitars off the wall. The neck is all warped and my luthier said the neck needs to be replaced. I'm asking the babysitter to front the bill on a new guitar, not a repair or neck replacement, as the alternatives diminish the value of the guitar. Mismatching neck to body severely impacts value, and a neck repair does too. It's $2,200. Am I the a-hole here, or is she? Her parents are telling us we're responsible. She's offering only to have babysat for free, and our friends are saying we're too harsh. But it was her responsibility, right? Man, you should see this baby. She can bench press like 350 pounds. I've seen it, bruh. I spot the baby all the time at gym. Deadlifts 200. What kind of Hercules-ass baby you got moving furniture around like that and then getting into the basement? I'm sorry, but your 3-year-old shouldn't be able to go and unlock that basement door. Surely it should be locked when you're not in the house. Assuming all your valuables are down there and you don't want them to be stolen by, like, someone breaking into the house. Sure, she screwed up by not being in the house for 20 to 25 minutes to look at the baby. That's absolutely her fault, and maybe you shouldn't be such an asshole and be like, pay for an entirely new guitar. It is so crazily unreasonable to ask her to buy you a new one for that. That's the most reasonable thing. You ask her and her parents to pay for the repair, she doesn't be your babysitter anymore, and you move on like normal adults. The way you're approaching this one absolutely makes you an a-hole for this, and I'm judging you for it. You're the a-hole. Now in the comments, Quirky Bumblebee 461 says, You're the a-hole. Your valuables should be insured and locked up. Your baby gate should be secured. You are responsible for buying a couch that a literal baby can move. What kind of a couch is that? You are responsible for interviewing, hiring, and training your employee. You are responsible for your minor child's actions. The babysitter is partially to blame, sure, but you also share a large portion of the blame. The babysitter would be responsible for a portion of the repair, not a brand new guitar. Your demand for a new guitar means you were trying to profit off of this, and that's why you're the a-hole. Music shop manager here. I'd also like to point out that if the guitar's neck was warped and not broken, there's almost no way it could have been done by the babysitter or child. Necks only warp for a few different reasons. 1. Being stored in improper environments with unregulated humidity. Funny he mentioned he stores it in the basement, which can be a kiss of death if it's unfinished or without a humidity regulator. 2. Truss rod adjustments. 3. String overtension. And 4. Having weight against the neck. Say, keeping it leaning at an angle against a wall for extended periods. Unless the child somehow made a truss rod adjustment, obviously not, it would have taken a very long time for that neck to warp. Like months to years. There's no way it could have been done in 20 minutes. OP likely had his instrument stored improperly and as a result, caused his own neck to warp. So OP ruined his own guitar and is trying to fleece the babysitter for the cost? Yikes. I think this situation is the reason for you to stop hiring her as your sitter, But asking a 19-year-old to pay you $2,200 for something that was ultimately destroyed by your child is too much. She failed in her duty to supervise your child, so you're justified in not hiring her again. But other than that, how can you possibly expect her to pay you all that? It's just unreasonable. As is the fact that you're not asking her to repair your guitar, you're asking her for a new guitar. Come on, dude. You're the a-hole. He also admits that the corrective measures available diminish but do not deplete value. The unreasonable request here would be to pay for the repair and the market value loss, not a whole new guitar. Our next post is by user Optimal Letter 9194, titled, Am I the a-hole for sending my daughter away? So I, 52 female, am a single mum with 5 kids. 3 of them are adults and 2, 14 female and 13 male, are minors who live with me. Their father is currently incarcerated. 14 female has been diagnosed with major depressive disorder and severe anxiety, and has been struggling with it for the past 2 years. I've tried to be there to support her, but I work a lot to make ends meet. There has been some issues in my past that may have contributed to her condition, alcoholism, but I'm working on getting it under control. The problem is that I feel like she isn't making any progress. She has meds that apparently aren't working anymore, and she's been hospitalized twice. I feel like she isn't implementing any of the skills and coping mechanisms she's learned. She says that she's trying, but it's harder than I think it is. I've been through my own issues before, and I do realize that it's not easy, but I feel like it's been long enough. So I made the decision to send her to her aunt's house for a few weeks. I think she'll be able to have a more rigid schedule and support system over there. I told her about it last night and she freaked out. She told me that I didn't love her and that I was just sick of dealing with her and her issues. And when I stood my ground, she told me that she didn't feel safe at her aunt's house and she'd go anywhere but there. Which I think are just excuses. So, am I the a-hole? Edit. Some additional information. 1. She had a therapist for months, but she was the one who wanted to stop, about a month ago, because apparently her therapist was saying a lot of things that made her feel bad about herself. I am actively looking for a new one within our budget. 2. I love my daughter very much despite what you think. 3. My adult children do not speak to me. They keep in touch with their younger siblings, but I don't even know where they live. 4. I probably should have included it in the post, but another reason for sending her away is for my son's sake. He hates seeing his sister like that, and it makes him extremely upset that she won't interact with him anymore, as they grew up very closely. Also, they have drastically different relationship with their father, and it's something that causes fights between them. He regularly speaks to and visits, or visited because of the pandemic, his father, and she has been no contact for about 2 years now. By sending your daughter to her aunt's place, where she obviously doesn't want to go, you're sending her a clear message that yes, in fact, you don't love her much right now, and she's too much for you and her brother to deal with. If she really doesn't want to go, then you really shouldn't be sending her. I don't see how that's a hard concept to grasp right here. Please do better in supporting your daughter. I get the feeling you're doing some things right, but you definitely are hurting her when you try things like that. You're the a-hole. Now in the comments, Yenro Taker says, the biggest you're the a-hole I can possibly give. Let's count out why. 1. You're quick to dismiss that your alcoholism has seriously contributed to her illness and give yourself plenty of leeway on getting it under control, which you don't give her. Despite the fact that she's 14. Being 14 is hard enough. 2. If she's not making any progress, why would sending her somewhere that she really hates be any better? It's obvious you're just trying to get rid of her so it's less headache for you, and she's definitely aware of that. 3. The fact that she's saying anywhere but there about her aunt's house is so upsetting. How do you know nothing bad has happened to her there? Have you even bothered asking why she doesn't feel safe there? At 14, it sounds like this poor kid has been through more than some adults. The fact that she's been hospitalized multiple times is terrifying. Take actual care of her and ask her what she needs. 4, and don't forget the dad is in prison, this brings to mind 2 possibilities. He may be the better emotionally supportive parent and is now unavailable. 5, dad may also have been a drug addict and alcoholic or violent, adding to the chaotic childhood caused by mum's alcoholism. I know not all prisoners are addicts or abusers, but there seems to be a strong possibility. And 6, I wonder if one of the 3 adult children were parentified, so she's lost her real mum. And 7, yes, antidepressants and anti-anxiety meds do stop working sometimes. Psychiatry is unfortunately not an exact science, and sometimes medications that used to work stop being effective. Please get her to her prescriber again so they can determine if changes need to be made. And Aces of Spades YT says, "You're the a-hole. She didn't feel safe at her aunt's house and she'd go anywhere but there." If she doesn't feel safe at her aunt's place, then don't send her to her aunt's place. If you dismiss this as just an excuse, I can see why she may have some diagnoses. And back to the post. OP says, Edit 2. Okay, I get it. I am the a-hole. I have thrown away the idea of sending my daughter to her aunt's. My eldest daughter drove 3 hours to pick 14 female up, and she tore into me when she got here. As much as some of you are reading between the lines and drawing conclusions that aren't true, a lot of you have really good points. I can't be a good parent when I'm not dealing with my own issues in a healthy way. I'm going to work harder to solve them. I will try to let my older daughter know about the possible abuse and see if she can get her to open up, because obviously 14 female will not talk to me about it right now. Lastly, big screw you to the people leaving death threats in my PMs. It's never okay, even if you think I'm the most awful person in the world. Our next post is by user Maybe Not Enough, titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my wife if when she cooks, she can just make normal foods for me and use smaller portions? So my wife has gained some weight over the past year and was already overweight, so she wanted to make change. She's also pretty short, so the amount of calories she needs to eat is a lot lower than me. I'm 6'4" and an average weight for my height. She started using the 1200 is plenty sub to get ideas for foods, and so she's constantly getting excited about low-calorie substitutions for things. Stuff like cauliflower instead of rice, spaghetti squash, halo top, PB2, etc. She's a good cook anyway, but because of the way she measures and portions out things, I end up still hungry and going through lots of snacks where I'd rather just have a filling meal. One of the things she makes is burritos with these extreme wellness wraps that are 50 calories, cauliflower, beans, homemade salsa, and whatever else we have around. They taste good but aren't satisfying at all for me and make me toot a lot. I finally sat her down and told her that I'm totally excited she's getting in control of her diet and that she's doing great. I've noticed a huge change in her overall, but that I need more calories and more satisfying meals. I asked if she would mind throwing some rice in the Instant Pot when she does stuff with cauliflower, or I said I would do it and she could just warm it up for me with the cauliflower. I gave a lot of suggestions. She got mad and accused me of trying to sabotage her. I argued back, saying that there's nothing to sabotage. I want her to lose weight as well, so I would be shooting myself in the tootsies if I did that. We kept going back and forth, and finally she just threw up her hands and said, "Whatever, fine, be an asshole and eat all of that in front of me." She went and vented about it on her Twitter, and all her friends were telling her that I was a bucket crab. I don't really get it, and trying to push food on her. I just wanted to feel satiated and have her lose weight. Am I the a-hole? Guys, one of the suggestions I made, like I said above, was that I could make rice and stuff ahead of time, and she told me it would be too much strain on the budget, and would be too much temptation for her to have around. I honestly think that was a fair request from you. And you don't seem to be exhibiting bucket crab mentality where you're trying to drag her down with you. If she views it that way, then that's something you need to sort out with her, because it could well sabotage her diet if it goes the wrong way. I don't know, I feel like that's something that potentially could sabotage her diet. I don't really know your relationship. If that truly is the case, then I would see you being the a-hole for those actions, but I really doubt that's going to happen. Her getting upset at you and offering no leeway, thus far stands out to me as her being an a-hole in this situation. That seems unacceptable to be so strongly against your partner's dietary choices like that, but I do get that it was coming from a good place. She just fails to see it from your side, and she fails to see why you need more food. More communication is needed, not the a-hole. And technically an edit, OP says, "Anyway, I brought up a couple things when she got home, and she agreed that we can shift stuff around in the budget to get me a big bag of rice and dry beans. She'll just try to avoid the extra calories. We live in a studio apartment, so she said she'll probably go for a walk or something while I'm eating until she's more accustomed to it if she has to." Now in the comments, a lounger at the club says, "I don't think you're being an a-hole, but you're probably going to have to start making your own food to avoid fighting with your hangry wife. And eating separately because apparently she thinks it's so mean to eat something she's decided she can't in front of her. I used to wrestle and cut weight. Thanksgiving and my birthday are during the season. I didn't eat the pies or have a birthday cake. In high school, I didn't cut weight before that. But I didn't get pissy about it. My family ate ice cream and other junk food and it didn't bother me. Because it was my choice. I get it though. I have a problem with candy. It's hard for me to have a handful of gummy bears and not eat the entire bag. So I generally don't buy it, or I'll get a few and put it away where it's out of the way." Exactly. She sounds like she's trying to pass off her lack of willpower on him, which isn't cool. P.S. about those gummy bears, try separating the bag into baggies, so you're only grabbing a few at a time. I do that and it works well, and don't ever get those sugar-free gummies. Info: why don't you cook your own meal? And OP replies, she prefers to be the one to cook for us. Budget, active love, etc. I do other stuff that she doesn't like doing. Vacuum, garage, laundry, etc. Mate, you're a grown adult. You don't need permission to make some rice or anything with more calories. If you don't want to cook, you could add stuff that's more calories to your meal. Burritos, add sour cream, fresh cheese, salsa. You get the point. It's quite easy to add calories to a meal. Or you could have a snack before bed, cheese and crackers, peanut butter, things that are higher in calories like bread. You have so many options. But I think he's saying that she doesn't want those things in the house because she would be unable to not eat them. That's a different problem and kinda outside the remit of this sub to solve. That's honestly fair. I didn't quite think of it like that. But definitely people do have issues with controlling themselves eating things, and sometimes it's best just to not have them, have their presence in your house, so that you're not even able to eat them and you don't get that urge. Maybe that's something I failed to see when I was making a consideration there. And our next post is by user Am I the A-hole water bottle? Titled, Am I the a-hole for not buying my daughter another water bottle after she chewed through the straw on hers? So my daughter, 14, chews on everything, especially anything made of silicone. She has anxiety and sensory issues, so I think that's why she chews on stuff. In June, I got her a water bottle and it had a silicone straw lid. I didn't think anything of it because she's never broken anything that she's chewed on before. Last week, she came up to me and said that she chewed through the straw on her water bottle and asked me to take her to buy a new one. I said no, and that she can use one of her sister's bottles. She bought 3 water bottles and covered them in stickers. She doesn't mind people borrowing them until she buys herself a new one. She threw a tantrum because she hates the way the stickers feel on her hands, and I told her she should have thought about that before she broke hers, and sent her to her room until dinner. She called her dad, my ex, and told him what happened and that she can't drink water at school because of me. She refuses to take plastic bottles too, and the water fountains at her school are shut off due to the pandemic. And when he picked her up yesterday, he told the kids to leave the room and berated me for not buying her a new water bottle and wants to go to the courts to get full custody over this. He completely undermined my parenting and bought her 2 water bottles with replacement caps and some necklaces for her to chew on. I already told her that I don't want her wearing those. My daughter said she doesn't plan on coming home when her dad's custody time is up, so I wanted to see if I was wrong. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the a-hole. I think I might be the a-hole because I bought her water bottle for $10 at Ross, and it wouldn't have killed me to get her a new one. But I wanted her to learn to stop chewing on everything and that her actions have consequences. You've been her mother for the entire 14 years she's been alive, and you understand what she's like and how best to help her. Yet you still choose to punish her for her coping mechanisms to the point she isn't able to drink water at school. That's not something to continue to argue about with her. Your ex is probably in the right here for going to the courts and trying to get full custody of her. If her mental health is that bad, and the easy solutions are only $10 at Ross, then why the hell do you refuse to do that for her? That just seems like terrible parenting and a quick way to get her to hate you instead of love you. You're the a-hole, and I hope you change your ways. Now in the comments, C-Flat-Jazz says, "You're the a-hole, previously info. Quote, some necklaces for her to chew on, and I already told her that I don't want her wearing those. Why? So this seems less about the bottle and more a pattern of minimizing or disregarding your daughter's sensory issues. I get wanting to encourage respecting possessions and cutting down on waste, but why are alternatives like the necklaces not allowed? A $10 bottle with a 9-month useful life also doesn't seem too crazy to me. Is there a reason this is the hill to die on? I just feel like your ex jumping to fighting for full custody indicates some detail is missing here. Munchables are great for chewing on, and they come in necklaces and also pencil toppers. They are only like $15 and pretty indestructible. It would be cool if they made reusable straws. You're the a-hole. She has a sensory and chewing issue. She broke something after 9 months because of her issue that you let go untreated. You try to force her to use a substitute that triggers her sensory overload. Her father buys her what she needs to be able to have water at school since hydration is important, and you actually wonder if you're wrong. Is this really serious? It should be a huge wake-up call that she no longer wants to live with you. He's taking care of her. You're allowing her issues to go untreated. He should get full custody. Don't forget, if this is what caused the father to fight for full custody, we have to assume that there were several previous incidents that led up to this. Yeah, I was thinking this too. I can see him being pissed off at her draconian parenting towards a kid with sensory issues, but full custody? Nah, this is a pattern. If she's refusing to spend $1 on a new water bottle and let her neurodivergent go without liquids the whole day because she hates her chewing, how else is she trying to discipline her for her harmless special needs? I shudder to think. I hope OP realizes that this is not just about the water bottle. If she doesn't, I'm glad Kid has her father. Alright guys, I think that's where I'm going to end today's video. If you need a good laugh, please do check out my second channel, Markee 2, links down in the description below, or it's going to appear somewhere on the screen here at the end, little bubble with my face on it. As always, a big shout out to my Patreon and channel members. Your faces are surrounding me right now, and I love to have you guys with me, and down in the comment sections of each and every video, and just knowing that you're always there to support me. It's a humbling and lovely feeling. And rest assured, I do see you, and I do notice your support, and I thank you every day for being here and helping me along this journey. Not much else to say besides that, guys. Thank you for sticking around to the end of the video. I do hope that you have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to. I will see you in the next video, and thank you again. Bye.